we feel very fortunate. Kendall and the guys that stepped to the free throw line made the free throws at the end. Needless to say, was huge for us. They kept coming. I mean, they made 3 of their last 4 threes, and a couple of them really deep. But the score was tied, and Harrison takes the ball to the basket and has a dunk. We go down there, we have a 1-point lead, and then Kendall steals the ball, goes down and scores. And we never went to the free throw line and made never went to the free throw line and killing ourselves on this, and we'd usually make 1. But then Kendall looked there, 10 out of 11 from the free throw line is huge for us, and needless to say, we feel very fortunate to get the heck out of here. John was big for us, 9 points, 9 rebounds in the first half, ended up with 14 and 12. John is so long inside, it's hard for guys to get many inside easy ones on us, but they just kept coming after us and kept coming after us too. It was an ugly game, but it was a hard-fought game, and to have a big-time year, you got to win some ugly games.
Roy, you took a timeout there right before Harrison's dunk. Did you set up a certain play coming out of the timeout?
Yeah, we did set up a play at that point. John was an option. They did a nice job defending it, and then the other one we had somebody, Z, I think, set a down screen for Harrison to get him the ball around the foul line area. And sometimes that ends up being a jump shot, but if you take the ball to the basket, you want that to go.
When you're going back and forth like that, how much of a swing was it maybe to have Harrison's dunk be so emphatic that the guys seem to get charged up by that?
Excuse me. It's drinking Sprite Zero so fast. I can't answer those kind of things. For me, it was just 2 points. I wanted to get our butts back and guard somebody. And that was when Kendall came up with the steal and then takes it down and scores. So to me, that was even bigger because then it's more than one possession. But there's no question it fired Harrison up, and our team, our bench, the whole crowd for us. But again, to me, it's just 2 points. I'd still dream about dunking, and I'm the only 60-year-old in America that does that.
Can you talk about the impact that Marshall's had on your team since you've gotten in conference play?
Well, he's been big. He didn't play very well in the first half today at all. He had 3 turnovers, I think, at halftime. And ended up with 3, if that's true. Did he have 3 at halftime?
Yes.
So to play against Clemson, they're good defensive. And they wore him out a little bit with all the running different players at him, picking him up from the board. We didn't do a very good job attacking their pressure. Just got us standing still, looking around, and we've got to do a heck of a lot better job against pressure defense. We've got to do a better job getting the other guys moving. But it was he was big on the free throw line. So you think of those things right there. To play the whole second half without any turnovers and go 10 for 11 from the line is pretty important.
It's the 3rd conference win, scored 64 points or fewer twice in a row. What does it say about the team that when they're not having a night like they had at BC or against Florida State, they can still grind out a win like this?
I think if you go back, every team I've ever coached, we always say we want to win in the 90s, but we got to be able to win in the 60s. And we work on it all the time. I mean, we don't work on playing ugly, but we work on half-court offense. We work on guarding people and trying not to give them a quick shot. So every team I've ever had has been able to do those kind of things. And except last year, we didn't do very much of anything at times last year. But for us, it is something that this week, there were 2 or 3 days in practice in the last week, not just this week, in the last week, that we've worked on our half-court offense and we haven't worked on our break at all. Maybe I should go back and start working on our break a little bit more, but for us, you got to be able to play both ways.
Troy Grant's had a real good year, but I think against you guys, he's had a total of 2 points in 2 games. Is it just the length that Pence and Zeller have? Do you think that bothers him? What do you think has been the difference for you guys?
Well, I hope that's what it is because we still have them the rest of the year. So it's something that if you have to play him again, but he's really a good player, and we've been very fortunate to catch him on 2 days that he has shot the ball like that. But John is really long. He affects some shots that he doesn't even block. He had 4 blocks today. Z had a couple of blocks, and they only gave him 1 because one of them they gave him a foul on. But those guys inside are a big-time obstacle for the other team to get something around the basket. And when John blocked his first shot of the day, I mean, that induces John a little more. I don't know what it does to Grant.
How much of this so-called playing ugly is as much attributable to the kinds of defenses that seem to be more prevalent in the league this year?
Well, we've played pretty a couple of times too, but I think it is great defense. I think Clemson is one of the best defensive clubs in our league. Some of it for us is our immaturity. I mean, there were times out there tonight in the second half, we had 3 freshmen on the floor. And John was a sophomore and he was out there. So for us, some of it is immaturity or inexperience too, but give Clemson's defense credit for it. You look at, they hold people down. They're scoring down. You don't score a lot against Clemson, and there's a reason for that. If they have an advantage, they try to run the ball. If they don't have an advantage, they run some plays, and that perhaps holds it down a little bit. But the biggest thing is they really do a nice job of guarding.
How about your defense?
I wasn't pleased. You like it around the basket when they're threatening and don't feel good, but they shoot 34%. We shoot 37%, so I'd say probably both defenses beat the offense today.
Roy, you've come out of a pretty tough stretch here with 3 wins in 4 games. How do you feel about heading back home with that?
Well, I feel good heading back home with a win today. I don't know. I still think about what happened 3 or 4 games ago, but everybody made a big point about this 4-game stretch. I even told our team yesterday, hey, people are making something about this 4-game stretch, and this is the last one. Well, we're going to play some more games after this. I've always said we got to play the whole season. This was, 3 games out of 4 on the road. Some tough people that you're playing. Even playing a really, really good Florida State team at home. But we still got to play Tuesday or Wednesday of this week too. So if they're going to give us a couple of weeks off to go to the beach and lay on the sand, I'd probably do that.
Anybody else? Players are walking upstairs in the locker room.